We're on? Okay, I think we're on.
How do we see it on here then?
Okay, so if you
How much battery you got? Oh, enough battery.
Right.
Hello and welcome to VCQ Live. Assuming that we are actually live, we're about to find out if we're live or not. We're not sure. What do you think, Fraser? If you had to go to a leading betting establishment and put on a bet, would you bet that we were live or not live? Yeah. Great. We don't seem to be able to make that work.
Yeah, no, here we go. Look, it's not happening.
Oh, there we are. How do we see the comments then?
I'm
Poor old Dan. He has to put up with this. Okay. For anyone just joining us, welcome. This is VCQ Live. We've started doing this every Monday at around this time, so welcome wherever you are in the world. We'll spend the first part of the show talking about questions that have come in on the comments, so we won't answer any comments that come in live. And then once we finish that, we will answer the comments that come in live. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Accept that. I'll start then. So we're talking about Lee Malia, who is the guitarist in Bring Me the Horizon. The show on Friday was about Lee and his rig, and we went up to Sheffield, spent some time there with Lee and his awesome tech called Joey.
Joey, indeed. What a legend.
Who looked after us and showed us around the rig and explained how everything works.
Fraser, can you see if you can get that to work, mate? This is very slow.
Now, Bring Me the Horizon are an immensely popular band.
Immensely popular band.
As we go to press, or indeed as we are live, they're Brit nominated.
Yes.
And they are Grammy nominated.
And Grammy nominated, yes. Twice nominated.
So they are huge.
Mega. Millions of numbers.
And we thought it would be a massive video.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
I thought it would be absolutely mega.
So not quite sure why that is. Maybe the TPS audience was a little bit surprised.
Maybe
that we go into that genre, and maybe anyone who's into that genre wouldn't watch a couple of old men on YouTube for 1 hour and 17 minutes, even if it was with a vastly popular band. Anyway, summed up by Fred Piers, who says, "When the video started, my brain screamed, 'What the hell is that noise?' Then I remembered. I had exactly the same reaction the first time I heard Dave Davis play the opening chords to You Really Got Me, and again when I heard Richie Blackmore play Smoke on the Water. This is the reason I play guitar."
Nice.
What a great! I thought. Wow. What a great comment that was.
Very good.
There was overwhelming agreement among the TPS audience, as I alluded earlier, that maybe while that particular genre of music, although that's in contention as well, isn't it? Because Bring Me the Horizon are known as a super heavy band.
Yes, but they've been through some changes. I
just think they're evolving really nicely. I mean, you think an old example. Let's take the Beatles, for example. Do you have to go to that? Is that what it is?
To where?
There.
This one here?
Yeah.
No, this is the comments on this one.
Oh, I see. So you can't work it out? Oh. I think, do you not go to there, or did you do that?
I've been here.
Right. There you go.
Well, here we go. Ah, here we go. And it's live. Okay, great.
So how do we...
So here we go. We're there. Okay.
Are we?
Yeah.
No comments?
No comments.
We can't be there.
We can't be live.
Go back. Just go back. What happens if you just click on the video?
Here?
Yeah, there, on the actual picture of it.
We are live? We're not live?
Literally no idea. I'll go and find out.
We are live.
I need to find the email from Bev which explains how we see the comments.
Okay. Well, it's public. Live now. Live viewers. Oh, man. Let's go to dashboard. Let's see. See comments. Oh boy. Well, I can't see if anyone's commenting. Technology is fun. I can see on the live stream, I can see that we're live. I can see that there's people watching. Analytics, options, details. Live now. It is live now.
Can you entertain the people, Dan?
I'm trying. Okay, you got the heavens. Well, apparently we're on. Okay, so I'm entertaining the people. All right. What's news? Okay. Right. So, yes, did the Limalia. Was there any other video went out this week, or the Tuesday show?
Let me help you. Luke Norman was very confused about Lee's signal chain.
Oh, okay.
Go.
All right. Okay, this will be fun. Okay. It is wireless, which is really interesting, using those shark fin antennas. And that went into his amp selector, which has an effects loop in it. And that effects loop had his effects selector, the RJM effects gizmo thing, where all of his effects were plugged into. That in turn is plugged into his amp selector, and that's all controlled via MIDI using those big floor things that you saw on the show. And then we had the amp selector, which is going for most of the show. Sorry, the amp selector is going to the JCM 800 and to the Plexi for the clean sound, and also to the Kemper. So basically, guitar went in, it had all of his effects, and then straight out from that into 3 different amplifiers that he could select as part of, he could call up a song, and his song would have all those different presets, and he could select any number of effects pedals or amplifiers and stuff, as we do on the show every week. Very good way to do it. Sounded quite good. You could hear the noise gate kick in.
I think more specifics on the signal chain, Dan.
More specifics?
Yeah.
Boy.
What order were the pedals in?
I don't know. Do you have it written down anywhere?
No.
Okay. I've got it. I've got it on my phone, which we're using to do this. Yeah, I will. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll put it in the comments section on the video. I will do a detailed description of exactly what pedals went where. So if anyone wants to see that, I'll get that done this evening. And I'll be very specific.
Jeff Flint, discuss this, Dan. Jeff Flint says, "You guys are cute. You remind me of my dad that time I showed him a hoseless nail gun for the first time."
Okay, yeah. What Mick's cute? Mick's sort of dreamy cute, whereas I'm sort of, but Mick's got a bit of ruggedness about him as well. I'm sort of more. I don't know if you'd ever use cute to describe me. Cute, when I was growing up, someone was called cute. It was always ugly but interesting.
I think the point he's making is we look like cavemen seeing fire for the first time.
Okay. Well, no. I've seen lots of rigs like that. But it's not a sound that we dive into every day. Yeah, but it was amazing to see it being done like that, because we could have taken that rig and made it sound with the clon and the plexi and all that stuff. We could have made that sound like us, that rig, but it was the way that Lee was playing it that made it sound as heavy as it did, which was so cool. So very cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
Do you want another question?
Yeah, go on then.
The Inebriati wants to know, do you know what speakers Lee had in his cabs?
They are vintage 30s.
In which cab?
In the vintage 30s in the JCM 800.
Correct.
Yep.
Which is the lead cab.
Yes, that's the lead cab. And then in the other cab, you've got, right, the Kemper was plugged into the power section of another of the Marshalls, and that was going into one side. So you've got two cabs. So the lead cab, the JCM 800 is one cab. The other cab, you've got the Kemper on one side and the Plexi on the other. And I believe they were both
G12Hs.
G12Hs, right. So, yeah. It's interesting that the Kemper's still going through the valve section of the amplifier,
Yeah.
the power amp, into one side, and then the Plexi going into the other, which gives them the clean. Hey! Oh,
Yeah.
well done, mate. How'd you do that?
I don't know. I'm still not sure we can see the super chat. Please don't super chat yet because we're not looking at them.
Yes.
We had a different window last week, and I literally have no idea how to find it. So, yeah. Oh, hang on. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, let's keep talking. Yeah, so there was some confusion about the speakers, not least because Celestians changed the vintage 30 over the years, and some were British made in the early days and were supposed to sound great. And then they moved to China, and a lot of people got really funny about it because they decided that the Chinese ones didn't sound as good. And then apparently Celestian still makes some in the UK, which they put in some Marshall cabs. I don't know about that last bit. I do know that they did have a QC issue with the Chinese ones, and they did sound a bit different. But one would assume that got ironed out over time. But
They've been there for a while now.
Yeah, for a long time. I mean, I can remember some of those early Mesa rectifier cabs just sounding unbelievably good. And as I understood it, various amp manufacturers make a tweak or two to a speaker, like they might change the damping bit around the edge of the cone, for example, make it stiffer or less stiff. Matchless, I believe, do something along those lines. But as Dan said, sorry, just to recap that, 4 vintage 30s in the overdrive lead sound cabinet, and then G12Hs in the other 412, which are split right for the Kemper and left for the clean sound of the JTM 45.
Yep.
One question that came out of that, Dan, was Lee Voice, and Voice, I think is how you pronounce that. Leo Voice says, thanks, excellent show. I was wondering, digital amp, tube amp, same room, same time, where were the phase issues?
So, yeah, it is really interesting because you've got the preamp of the JCM 100 into the power amp of the JCM 100 going to the big cab. But I think that's separate to the clean tones. So he doesn't have them on together. But the clean tones, he has his Plexi into one side and the Kemper into the other. Now, the Kemper is going directly into the power amp of another JCM 800, and then to one side of the speakers. So you've got, the thing is with phase, it's really interesting. To get two things exactly in phase is really challenging. They didn't, okay, normally Lee would have to, because of the latency in the Kemper, Lee would have to delay the other side, the other clean amplifier, to bring it up to speed. But they don't do that, and they don't seem to run into phase issues. I mean, if you saw it on, if you saw the waveforms together, you could probably see that they're out. But I think having them run both through the power amps, together, and because the other thing is they're both being mic'd. So if you're running a Kemper direct from an XLR out into the desk, I think those phase issues may be more obvious, but because they're both being mic'd, I think, it's a weird one. I think if you to put them on a door and look at the waveforms, you'd see that they would be out.
Yeah.
But I think because they're being done just mic'd up, it works for them.
Fraser said, Fraser wondered if the fact that the sounds were so different, because you've got one being affected in a different way, would mean that because the waveforms are so different anyway,
Sure.
you don't hear the phase thing quite as bad.
For example, if they just had time-based effects going through the Kemper and the clean amplifier was generally more clean, then that would be for the phase to come into play. You've got to have the signal's got to come from the same source. If the signals come from a different source, you don't get those phase issues. So you've got to have the signal's got to come from the same source.
So there we go. That's
There we
why.
go.
That's why. Sorry, picking up back. Anyone just joining us, we're not looking at the comments just yet, even though we're having some trouble seeing them. We're just answering questions that came in on the video that went out on Friday. So picking back up where we started. Joe Halliday, Edward Bartley, Phil H27, Marco Bruder, Steve Foster, Coldacre, Heinel, Bravo Cole, Fender Jeff, Ratho Quarter, Kevin Coulter, and Guy Johnson all said the same thing, which was, blimey, never expected to see a band like that on TPS. Not my thing, but I thoroughly enjoyed it anyway.
Ah, lovely. I mean, we're very lucky because Lee's been using a bunch of our stuff for years and only recently changed over. So I've known Lee and I've seen the band progress from where they were even 5 years ago to where they are now. And it's been this amazing journey. And an actual fact, when I told the guys in the office that I was going to see Lee, they had a meltdown.
Right. Such a big band for them.
So excited. Yeah. Couldn't believe it.
There was I think Simon remarked on it when he was doing the filming, just the amount of synergy there is between people like me and Dan, who probably aren't really into that kind of music, and Lee, who obviously definitely is, and yet all the core building blocks of it are all the same. Les Paul, Marshall, Clom, but
loud amps.
The application is completely different, but the theory is kind of the same. And that bonds guitar players. I love that. I feel very strongly about that. That we're all in the same game, even though we might play different music. Which is why I'm not going to name anybody, but there was some negativity. People saying, "Oh God, it's so great to see this," rather than all those boring old fart blues players you have on all the time who just play the same thing over and over again. It's like, it's all good, right? And because we, maybe we're in that camp more than we are in the metal camp, doesn't mean we don't like that other stuff or we reject it. It's all the same thing. It's the same stuff. It's just music, right?
Absolutely.
Everyone just builds themselves in their own little cave and won't come out. It does anyway.
Yeah, but if you listen to their first album, for example, and it's angry and there's a certain person that's going to identify with that and it's going to mean something to them, and you can see as they've gone through their career and their fan base has changed.
And some of the early fans got terribly upset.
Absolutely.
Sure.
But that's man, think about this. Think about the first album and just think of the vocals on that and the last album. It's the same singer. It blows my mind because his voice is amazing. But that's a little analogy of how the whole band has changed, sort of moved along, and it's going to happen. For them to stay as enthusiastic and passionate as they are, they're changing. The band is 15 years they've been going. And so to keep it aside, they've got to do different stuff. Great.
Yeah, listen to the Beatles in 1964 and in 1969. I mean, blimey, O'Reilly, that was a different band.
Was it 4 years from I Want to Hold Your Hand to Sgt. Pepper's?
Yeah. So
I mean, that's nuts.
Great. It's artistic.
Yeah, man.
It's how it should be. Actually, I will interject at this point. I need to apologise to Tom Miley from last week and the week before.
Right.
On the subject of we were talking about things like woods making a difference in guitars and stuff.
Okay.
Tom got very annoyed that they don't make a difference, and if we weren't prepared to be scientific about it, then any opinion we had was null and void. And
Okay.
I've been annoyed by that opinion over many years, and I snapped at Tom a bit. And
Did you?
I likened him to a flat earther. And as Tom rightly pointed out, he said we're the flat earthers, Dan, because we
We're the flat earthers.
believe in things that we can't prove. So, Tom, your analogy is probably correct, and I apologise for referring to you as like a flat earther. You're obviously a man who believes in science, so I apologise unreservedly to you for offending you in any way. So I just need to get that out of the way and off my chest.
Okay, but it's wrong.
What's wrong?
Guitar wood does make a difference.
We can't prove it scientifically. Or at least I'm not prepared to prove it scientifically. Therefore, I am wrong.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I'd say stick an alder body or an ash body on a telly. All that stuff.
That's not the point. The point is, I offended you, Tom, and I'm very sorry.
Okay.
about
Anyway.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll come back to that actually. You know, deaf people can't hear, right? And blind people can't see.
Yeah.
And then people who can see,
Yeah.
and people who can hear.
Yes.
Do you think that's like 0 and 100? Can't see, can see. Or do you think the existence of things like glasses mean that there's a bit of a grey area in between can't see and can see?
Is it binary?
Well, what I'm saying is it's a sliding scale, isn't it?
Well,
Fraser and I discovered the other day my hearing's not very good between 12 and 20k.
Whose is between 12 and 20k is up there.
I'm not as sensitive between 12 and 20k as Fraser is. He can hear things there that I struggle to hear.
Right.
My point is, if you look at something on a scope,
Yep.
and it says this is what it sounds like, I can't hear it anyway.
What, between 12 and 20k?
Yeah. I'm saying, Dan, that we don't all hear the same thing.
Sure. No, that's true.
So if a scope says this is what the sound is, it doesn't mean that anyone can hear it.
It doesn't mean
That is why I get a bit tired of people looking at scopes saying this is what it sounds like.
Yes. Okay.
That's why.
Yep.
So, sorry, I've hijacked the conversation. Sorry, Tom. Matt Plum, great episode. The D&M drive is my gain pedal for heavy metal, my heavy metal band. So you guys are more metal than you know.
Awesome.
Don't tell anyone. I was actually editor of Metal Hammer magazine. It's actually true. I was. It was the worst year of my life.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
And it was the worst year of the team's life.
Oh.
Poor people had been ripped out of London, taken to the arse end of nowhere by an idiot publishing company who put me in charge. That was the beginning of my rejection of corporate life.
Right.
Yeah. I was kind of semi forced to take this job.
Did you wear a wig or what did you do?
No, they were great. They were a really lovely bunch of people, really awesome people actually. But it was a tough year. Anyway.
Did you meet Henry Rollins?
Yeah, I did. I did meet Henry Rollins. Yeah, I
Rollins.
interviewed. He did. Anyway, no, sorry, tangent. Too many tangents. Lots of people were pleasantly surprised by what the Clon did into a Marshall. In Raglan Lines, the Humbucker Chronicles, Stuart Narduzzo, Graham Kelly and Onasun, among others, were really surprised that a Clon into a JC 800 could be metal.
Oh, man. Absolutely.
And then,
It's more. It's more of all the good stuff.
Fraser was saying this morning, it's all it's just in the attack to the guitar, isn't it?
Yeah.
As if we didn't know that. So we're being told how to do this.
Okay.
So Dan, please answer the next question while I try and work this out.
Okay.
Would be something to discuss. Would be not very many questions actually. Here you go. Pick it up from there. Some of the things I've already talked
So
about.
Paolo and Robin Bells pointed out that Gretsch, we couldn't identify, was in fact a BST 2000 model. So the guys go over to, is it Chicago Music Exchange? Chicago Music Exchange. And whenever they're in the States, and they always come out of there with something interesting and fun. And that was, that was one of the guitars. But I'd never seen that before. But do they have, I mean, Gretsch has been going a long time. They must have, loads of adventures in guitar making.
It was a late 70s and 80s curio, I think.
Okay.
Is what it was. One of those. Gretsch has been through a few owners over the years.
Okay.
And been in and out of financial trouble, from what I can understand.
Right. Aidan Stanley says, great episode, boys. Just wondering if Lee's signature guitars are stock off the shelf or modded. Does he use bare knuckle pickups? I loved his tone and setup. His guitars are completely stock, except I think to get the 80 gauge string, they have to drill out the machine head to fit the 80 in. But apart from that, I think they're all stock. The pickups are Gibson pickups made for Lee. So I know that he... did he used to use
bare knuckles? Yeah, I think so, in his earlier days.
Yeah, but then he got the Gretsch. Gibson basically made him
the pickups.
The pickups. Yeah.
Guys, just to say, please don't top chat yet because we're not quite finished with the things. But in any case, Master Machetier. Wow. I'm going to meet you on a dark night. Which delay is the mainstay on your pedal board and why, Dan?
Look, I'm going through changes.
Quick answer.
Analog Man ARDX20.
Yeah, mine is currently the Catlin Bred Bell Epoch Deluxe or the Free the Tone Flight Time.
Right.
But there is one that's going to be featured on the show tomorrow, which may kick all of that off.
Yep. It's same thing for me.
Hi from New Zealand.
Hey!
I'll probably have to go to work by the time you read this, says Bob Dingo85. But you've been inspiration to me over the last year. Just wanted to say hi and thank you, and I hope this helps keep the lights on.
Bless
Bob
you.
Dingo, that is phenomenally...
Thank you so much.
Phenomenally generous. Thank you so much. But yes, please hang back from the top chat just for a minute while we finish up these questions.
Okay.
Which is galloping to a conclusion. Kyle Milbrandt and John Hatton actually said this too. Thanks, guys. Love the show. Can't wait to tune in every week. I've been waiting to see some rack setups on the show.
Yes.
And this was excellent. I would love to see an episode also about presence. The brief conversation we had about how presence works in a valve amp left me wanting more.
Fascinating. It is fascinating.
And it's not the same in all amps, but I think that would be a really great show.
Yeah.
Mark Hammer actually commented in the comments on the main show saying that he had a bassman that the more you turn the presence up, the more negative feedback it dialed in.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's normally the other way around.
Yeah.
He wasn't sure if that was standard or if it had been rewired that way.
Yeah.
Because he says it comes from the days where you didn't want distortion in the amp, and therefore it was there to dial it out rather than. So we don't know. We should get into that. If anyone does know that, let us know what the presence knob on your bassman does.
Yes, let's have a look.
Yeah. Whiskey Tennis Foxtrot. From an old-time metalhead who watches your show, thanks for representing the metal. There is actually a whole lot you could talk about with metal tones. It's not just all Metal Zone sounds. There's tighter sounds, there's thick sounds, there's vintage sounds, there's gained out sounds. Here's an idea for a show: 5150 style amp versus JCM 800 style. You could explore how each reacts differently to the gain types. You could explore how they sound different with distortion sources, and even though it's probably been done before on dozens of other channels, it would be nice to see that pedal show do it.
They need to get Rabia and Nolly.
Yeah, well, we have been talking about doing exactly that.
Yeah, that would be really interesting.
Yeah, just in to talk about that. I mean, yeah, we would.
Yeah.
I was about to come up with some cock and bull story how we're not completely devoid of metal sensibility. You're not. You have some.
No, but you...
I'm as metal as a tree.
No.
I've said this before.
I love where just dynamically, like in my playlist. If you listen to my random playlist in the car, it's you would think I have problems.
Have you got your phone?
It's there doing the show.
Oh, it's doing the show.
But it's, so I.
Do you want to know what's in my Apple playlist then?
Yeah.
So your Apple recommended for you Apple playlist, right, is what Apple, for anyone who doesn't use Apple Music, I assume Spotify has the same thing. If you listen to Apple Music, it suggests based on the stuff you listen to. So in this week's Apple playlist for me is, ready?
Yeah.
Your playlist. Lyle Lovett,
Ah, nice.
Casey Musgraves,
Yes.
Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
Miranda Lambert,
Man.
Willie Nelson. I mean, there's a picture here, isn't there? Kebmo,
Okay.
Robin Ford,
Yes.
Josh Smith,
Nice.
Tori Amos,
Nice.
James Taylor,
Yes.
Joey Landreth,
Nice.
The Common Linnets, Christopher Cross, Rihanna, Neil Young, Paul Gilbert,
Yes.
the Andy Timmons Band.
Yes.
I'm not joking. John Mayer, Ryan Adams, eek. The Jimi Hendrix Experience,
Okay.
Brian Adams, Faris and Jason Romero, Rush.
Yeah.
That only is in there because we had to learn Tom Sawyer once. And Leanne LaHavis. No metal.
Okay. Nice.
Pretty much all country.
Yeah, I don't know if I would get metal in there in my playlist, but I do. Look, I sneak on. I love Yngwie's sound and his playing, and it is in there. And I guess,
Is it contentious to say Yngwie isn't metal?
well, I don't know. I think the arrangement wise, and they call it neoclassical and all
He's
that sort
rock,
of stuff.
isn't he?
Yeah, I think
Yngwie's
so. I think so. But if I have the Slipknot in my playlist, because and I don't even know. I think it's quite old Slipknot, but some of the guitar sounds and the arrangements, because I love prog, and the arrangements, like I'm listening to the stuff going, how do you even begin to write this stuff? And then Devin Townsend, of course, which gets really heavy. So, these tunes will come on, and it's like, so beforehand it'll be, Joe Pass or something like that into a bit of Slipknot. It's like, way! It's great.
Well, it's all good, isn't it?
It's all good.
It's all music.
Yeah. But it's still, all of that stuff just ticks those boxes for me. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Right, let's pick it up.
All right.
If you like Black Sabbath, you like metal.
Yes. Oh, Sabbath is on my playlist all the time.
Black Sabbath was a life-changing record for me. I had a couple of mates who were a bit older.
Right.
We used to go around to his attic and listen to AC/DC and Black Sabbath and smoke cigarettes. It was life-changing.
Are we in here now?
We're in.
Okay, all right. So
Joe Harvey 84 says more metal.
yeah.
Okay, Joe.
Top chat is on.
Top chat's on.
Okay, great.
The JHS Gilbert pedal sounds good. Says. Then it just.
Well, we would have
moved.
seen it at NAMM, but we didn't go.
Says furthermore.
So
yes.
I'll have to get one.
Yeah. Stuart Tate. Hello, Stuart.
Hey, Stuart.
I'm riding a country wave at the moment. Can't get enough of the Zach Brown band.
Oh, right. Nice.
Yeah, nice. Christia Ulvedal says Devin Townsend. Woo. Yeah. Indeed.
He sent me a text.
Oh, Dev.
Dev, well, they're at NAMM. And he just said, I just saw Mel.
Yeah. Oh, no way. We had the bizarrest breakfast with Devin Townsend.
It was the best. I'll remember that to the day I die.
And anyway.
It was you, me, Danish Pete, Devin Townsend, and Andy Timmons.
Mel was the server, wasn't he?
He was just the
Might have
sweetest
been
guy.
Hen Danine. Hello, Hen Danine. Thank
Hello.
you for the top chat. He says, what's the story on the green D&M drive?
Ah, okay.
It was just every now and again we do colour special editions. Do it in different colours. And that was one of them back along. Yeah, we've done the standard one is orange. We did the green one and we've done a stealth one.
So there's the standard.
Actually, we didn't know the green one was happening. It just sort of happened,
Yes. And then
which is good.
that one happened. Whoa. And then we've just done this one. Whoa. So they're all exactly the same. just different colour schemes. Oh, hello, ladies.
Joe Brennan, hi Joe. Interested to see what you're most excited about this year's NAMM, if you've been keeping up with the coverage. Chase Bliss thing that's just come out. What's it called, Fraser?
The 1982.
Yeah, is that what it's? I don't know. It's
With
got
the Meris reverb.
With the Meris reverb in it, it's got the sliders on it. It looks amazing.
Meris reverb is as my favourite reverb in a pedal that I've ever heard. It is delicious. And Chase Bliss have done the slider thing to it, so I have to get one of those. It's going straight in the pool room.
Yeah. Josh Crothers. No disrespect, I just wanted to hear from them. What do you want to hear, Josh? I've never experimented with it before yesterday, so I'm just going back through the chat. Don't know. Oh, Josh, how can you tell, Josh Crothers, how can you tell when 2 amps are out of phase?
Okay. Ready to do the dance?
Yeah, this is why they're out of phase.
Okay.
Here's I am amp A, Dan is amp B.
Okay. So here's amp A.
And this is the speaker.
Yes.
And it's doing this about however many times a second. Like
Okay.
lots of times a second.
So if amp B comes in and it's going, right? Now, if I'm out of phase, I do this. So as amp A is pushing, I am pulling, and vice versa. And what happens is you get what's called phase cancellation, where a lot of the frequencies are basically cancelled out. If you have 2 signals that are perfectly out of phase, then they will perfectly cancel out completely.
You won't be able to hear anything.
Exactly. But it doesn't quite work like that, you know, because you always have frequencies produced that aren't the same and yada, yada, yada. So, but generally what happens is you'll hear it in the bottom end. So to hear if an amp's out of phase, you need to be able to switch the phase. And so play an E chord or play an A average with, you know, as much bottom end as you can muster, and then flip the phase, and you'll be able to hear the bottom end specifically go, or
it's the most obvious thing is the bottom end. We sometimes will stand in different parts of the room and not necessarily, no one's hearing the same thing. So sometimes it doesn't sound obviously out of phase, sometimes it does. So yeah, the way to actually tell is to record them both and look at the waveforms, and you'll see that as one goes up, the other one goes down.
Yes.
Then they are definitely out of phase. Alan Bartlett. Hi, Alan.
Hey, Alan.
At Dan, did you get to see Jeremy and Paul Stacey do their Royal Scammers Steely Dan gig at Ronnie Scott's?
So Paul came to me on Tuesday to change a few things on his board before the rehearsal, and he managed to get me a place at the bar at Ronnie Scott's on the Thursday night, but I couldn't do it because I had a family engagement that I couldn't get. It was my son's birthday, basically. So yeah, they did 4 nights, and
I didn't even know.
oh man,
I so would have gone. Lee Mallier's pickups are a Kramer 84T and a Gibson H90 that have had the screws swapped to gold hex screws, just in case anyone was wondering, says a very dead horse.
Oh, awesome.
I can't vouch for the pure accuracy of that statement, but that's what a very dead horse says.
Yes.
Kramer 84T and a Gibson H90.
Thank you.
Gibson owns Kramer, I believe, so that would be possible.
My very first guitar I bought myself, a Kramer Striker.
I think we've had this discussion before. You and Pete Honore all had Kramers as our first
No
guitars.
way!
True story. Chris Turner. Hi, gents. Technical question. Those are the kind we like, Chris, rather than anything we can actually upset anybody with, like philosophy or science. Hi, gents. Are there non-MIDI solutions to having one expression pedal and switching it to do different things? Like a reverse 3-2-1. So if I assume what you're saying, Chris, is that if you've got a reverb and a delay and you want to use the expression pedal to do different things in different pedals, is that possible?
It is possible.
Non-MIDI.
So there's a pedal called the Expressionator, which you can plug one expression pedal into the Expressionator, and has 3 outputs, and that you can switch between them or have them all on. And you don't have to have MIDI for that one. But then you have other MIDI pedals that have like Source Audio Reflex, but they don't make it anymore, which is heartbreaking. But they have, there's 3 outputs in that one pedal. mission engineering, an amazing array of expression pedals, and lots of them have multiple outputs as well. So yes,
That's a way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Steve Ohata joining late. First time catching this live. Aloha from Hawaii.
oh,
Hi, Steve.
aloha! I really want to go to Hawaii.
I've never been.
Yes, there's a really famous jiu-jitsu place out there that I want to train at.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Stephen says, any favourite pedals from the recent NAMM show? Well, we just talked about the Chase Bliss new thing.
Well, that's amazing.
I haven't really seen very much, actually. Joey's got a new overdrive with... Joey's got a new overdrive with the people who make the Prism. Jackson
Audio.
Yeah, which is an overdrive, which looks pretty cool.
Yep. The Paul Gilbert pedal that came out,
Overdrive.
that looks really
Yeah.
good.
I haven't seen very much, actually. So we should catch up on it, really.
Sure.
Lord
Ooh.
Lord Councillor James. Gentlemen, recently watched your vintage amp video, the one where Johnny came in,
Hey.
and was wondering how they sound so much better than today's versions. Well, that's a contentious question,
Very contentious.
Lord Councillor.
Yes.
Um,
Can you prove it with science?
we can't prove it with science, unfortunately. You probably could measure it, actually. One of the things that a vintage amp has that modern amps don't have. So if you stick an old Super Reverb next to our new reissue Super Reverb, the old one has usually got loads of like harmonics and overtones and speaker breakup, and you can hear the transformer going.
Yep.
It's just the whole thing is, and I don't know whether that's an age thing. I would love to have been able to hear it in 1965.
Yeah.
Whether it sounded
Well, listen,
like that
listen
back
to
then.
recordings from Hendrix from back then. You know, that stuff is all new. You know, it's such a fascinating. So, a lot of regulations have changed in manufacturing. So, for example, there's a regulation called ROHS, which stands for Removal of Hazardous Substances. ROHS, but it's pronounced ROHS. And so things like, you know, germanium transistors are basically illegal to make now because they contain things like arsenic and cadmium. Right?
Photocells were
Yeah,
problematic, weren't they?
absolutely. So there's as the manufacturing standard has changed.
Because, you know, we all throw our pedals in the skip, don't we, when we're done with them?
Yeah, in the landfill. Yes, but so because the manufacturing industry has changed, you can't change the process and keep the outcome. You know what I mean? It could, you know, whether it changed for better or worse or whatever. It's like, well, let's say it's very, very challenging to do that. You know, you can have you have two circuits, right? They're exactly the same, and you lay them out differently, and you'll get differences. I had an amazing conversation with Yoshi from Boss when we were in Japan a couple of years ago, and him and I were talking about manufacturing capacitors for, you know, like 2 hours. It was fascinating.
I was sat there eating amazing sushi.
Just the best, wasn't
Yeah,
it? It was
yeah.
incredible. But all that stuff makes a difference, you know. So yeah, comparing the manufacturing process for the Fenders now, you know, like a reissue Super, and to the Super that was, you know,
Well, you get into that really awkward discussion about, you know, does hand wiring sound different from PCB?
just the wood in the cabs, for example.
Yeah,
all
well, I
that
know
stuff.
people that say an aluminium chassis sounds different than a steel one.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I think we should leave that there and move on.
Okay.
Yeodge Black. Hi, guys. Is there anything a clon can't do? What's your favourite clon clone?
Ryra is mine.
Yeah, mine too. Only because I stopped when I got to the Ryra
Sure.
because it sounded so indistinguishable
Yep.
from my silver clon that I didn't need to carry on looking. Rocky Repair
Ryra,
Amp,
yeah,
the
stands
clone.
for Rocky or Repaired Amp. There it is. Beautiful, beautiful.
They come in loads of different colours and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, the one that Lee Mallier was using, built by John or something, built by Dave or something. It's called.
Yeah, a Scottish
Built by Andy.
company.
Built by Bill. Max Heavner wants to know, is there a full Zoya video ever likely to happen? Fraser's got the Zoya. He took it away and he's never going to bring it back.
Have to get Fraser on that one. I
Yeah, we
think.
do. We're going to introduce Fraser on camera at some point.
Yeah,
because
I'm doing part of my vlog. Fraser's going to be there.
he has a wealth of knowledge that Dan and I frankly don't have. and to get his input on Zoya would be
Yeah.
very useful. Dave. Cheddar Kung Pao, Dave.
Oh,
we
mate.
We meet Dave in Germany every year and sometimes in America. I'm going to buy a 2-rock, and it's at least 20% your fault, Nick. Sorry, Dave. I think Dave sent me a text from NAMM. He tried a 2-rock on the 2-rock stand and
Right.
was somewhat overwhelmed by it.
Yeah. It is. I
Neandra, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank
Says
you,
thank
Neandra.
you for the great tones.
Oh, you're so welcome. Yeah, so whenever I would walk into the studio and Mick was playing his 2-rock, or whenever we did gigs, I'd have, I'd plug all my stuff and think, yeah, it's great. Then Mick would fire up the 2-rock and I'm like, it is such a special sounding amplifier. But it's one of those amplifiers that is very revealing.
It's hard to play.
It's hard to play.
Yeah.
I've
Some
had a
people-
realization about that.
Some people really don't like it.
Yeah.
I've heard people listening to it expecting it to sound like the John Mayer sound, and it really doesn't sound like that.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, sorry, realization.
So, realization, because talking about the 2-rock, I've been playing this and Red back to back this week, and Red is a beautiful guitar, and it's a custom shop telly, so it's great, sounds great. And I picked this up, and the detail that comes through in this guitar actually makes it harder to play. So I'm going to be, I've been practicing with it this week, and I'm like really conscious about the pressure from the pick and exactly where I'm putting my fingers, and because I'm Red, that sort of stuff gets missed, or it's not as prevalent. But on this guitar, far out, man, you hear everything. It's arresting.
There is an analogy to be made about playing with loads of gain, isn't there?
Sure.
Where it covers up a lot of the ore, and actually doing what Lee Melia does to take it back to the show on Friday, playing pretty clean actually.
Yeah.
With incredible timing. Did you notice how metronomic his timing was? It was like a machine playing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And what do you think that will improve your playing or make it worse, Dan? That level of revealing?
No, it's going to improve it. I'm already, just the couple of weeks that I've been playing around with this, I'm already feeling a difference. Just being, because when I first realized what was going on, it was like, because I'm really hearing stuff, and I'm just hearing that attack so clearly, and it's like I'm hearing fluffs, and I'm like, okay, I'm loving this sound so much, and I don't want those fluffs. I want fewer of them.
Yeah.
So I'm sat down and I'm working at it, and I'm just absolutely adoring it.
It changes you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do still have the Strat, by the way. I'm just regulating its appearances a little bit. Some people get really annoyed when me and Dan use really nice guitars, so we get a bit of hate for that. So I'm trying to put in the other guitars as well. Nobody 137. Technical question: does one have to turn off pedals before attaching power to them to prevent damage, or does it not matter? So when you attach the power to your pedals, should it be turned on or off?
Okay, you turn it off, but not that not because you're going to hurt it, because when you put the power to the pedals, if you are, if it's connected to the amplifier, for example, and you just turn it on, and you might get a DC spike which puts a thump into the pedal, into the amplifier. So good practice to have the pedal off and then plug the power in and then make sure everything's set up and lovely and then turn it on. But yeah, you're not gonna hurt the pedal by having it on and plug the power in.
Yeah.
No, not at all. It just if it thumps into the amplifier, you might do the amplifier some damage, but it should be fine.
Yeah. Michael Burrell, I've got a Klon KTR and supposedly they sound identical to the original
They're
Klon.
great. They're really good.
But I've never been able to AB it. They don't sound original because the originals don't sound identical to one another.
Sure.
So, but
The first one I played was when we did
we're splitting hairs.
at Anderton's. I thought it sounded really good.
KTR.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. It's really, really great. Pete's one sounds good.
Yeah.
Brian Lewis, what are your thoughts on the new Gretsch G5222? I'm in love. It's like my 3121 without the Bigsby, which I suck at using. Most people suck at using Bigsby's, to be fair. Dan can't live with his at all.
No, I just get
Just
tuning
can't keep it in
problems.
tune.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
I do. I go. I tell you what.
So I don't know what the 5222 is. It's either the new Jets they've done or it's the new baritone one. And I am thinking of acquiring one of the new baritone ones actually in the Electromatic range. They look really cool.
I love this, but now
We've been sent a rocking bar bridge
have we?
for this. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it is.
I think
though,
that is
isn't
a
it?
rocking bar
Yeah.
bridge. Adam sent us another bridge,
Okay.
whatever it is. So Brian, to actually answer your question, I think the Electromatic Gretches and the Streamliners actually are cracking value for money.
Yeah. Like yours.
Yeah, the
That's
white one we've
amazing.
got back there.
Just,
It's such a
beautiful.
cool guitar. I am going to stick some different pickups in it one day before the end of my life. Justin Garcia. Hi, Justin. Have you seen the new Origin Revival Trem? It's incredible. 62 brown face deluxe and bias trem. Everything Origin does is good.
Yeah.
So
Unreal.
It's going to be really nice.
Yep.
We played that new Hampstead one today on... we've brought pedal jams back.
We
There's
have.
a really good pedal jams coming tomorrow and possibly an even better one coming next Tuesday. So you can hear the new Hampstead one. Yeah. Brian, again, sorry, it's an Electromatic double jet with the V stop tail. Oh, okay. So does double jet mean double cutaway or does it mean two pickups? Because Dan's is the with the Broadtrons with the V stop tail, which is in the full Gretsch line, but that is a great guitar.
Oh, it's magic.
Yeah, there's a new amps coming out from Victory at NAMM, and I did some of the playing on it. In fact, we Simon and Fraser and me made the videos for Victory, and played this guitar in one of the sounds. It just sounds unbelievably good. Sorry, that sounds like I'm saying I sound unbelievably good. The guitar into the amp sounds unbelievably good.
No, you do sound unbelievably good.
It really cool. Nicholas Sivanto. Mick, what was the Morgan you were really impressed with? Was it the MVP 23? Thanks for the love on the show and my new Stealth Because Tone t-shirt. Thanks for buying one, Nicholas. Makes a big difference to us. I like all Morgan amps.
Yeah.
I really like the
Yeah, yeah.
PR12 Josh Smith. The MVP 23 I really, really, really liked. But yeah, I mean, I just think the way Joe designs and makes amps, all of the Morgan amps, you can put them in that place of most open responsiveness.
Yeah.
Which is
Great,
personally
great
what I like
platforms
in
as
an amp.
well. Yeah, really, really lovely.
Yeah. But I very much did like the MVP 23 from what I can remember. Vintage Life. What about wiring mods on Strats and Tellies? Martin Harispe here. Yeah, I'm never that. I just like it the way it was.
Sure.
Apart from maybe putting the tone pot on the bridge pickup of some Strats.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a part of the vintage sound. I think. I'm just trying to think of any differences in the telly. I mean, obviously you've got differences with from the very early days and the way that the neck pickup would sound. You know, the way they would do that stuff, as in you'd have the bridge was the back position was the bridge, the middle position was the neck, and then the forward position was a dark neck.
Yeah.
You know, so there's been changes since then, but I think as soon as they just went to bridge middle neck, I think it's not a lot has happened.
Not on the telly.
Not-
They go to
yeah.
the four-way. Four-way's quite popular, I think, which is where you get one in series. Get them two pickups in
okay.
series.
Yeah,
I think,
right.
Maybe. Strats, one of the most common mods, which quite a lot of people do, is put the neck pickup on a... So you can roll it into the bridge pickup. So you can have neck and
Right.
bridge,
Okay.
avoiding the middle. I think someone told me Gilmore does that. I don't know if that's true. Right. There was a really good question there, and now it's gone away, Daniel. Straw Pete 1. Hello, Straw Pete 1. If you had £140 to spend
Okay.
On a gain pedal for mostly blues, what would you get? It's really tough.
It is tough because you don't know the amplifier and you don't know the guitar.
I'm going to say if you can get one for 140, and I don't know if you can. I'm going to go all out there, Dan, and say
Okay.
full tone plimsoll.
Nice. Okay, I like that. I like that
Maybe.
a lot. Yep. I am going to go
They might be a bit more than that actually.
140 pounds or dollars.
Pounds.
Okay. Okay.
Oh man, there are so many overdrive pedals.
far out. How much is a
You could get a really nice blues driver for that.
yeah. That's what I'm thinking. A blues driver or he came, he visited us here, and he makes those lovely clones.
Oh yeah. Black Box.
Black Box.
What's his name? Oh god, that's embarrassing. We can't remember his name. He's such a cool guy, and he has
He was lovely.
same name as somebody we know and love. Anyway, I'll remember in a minute. Yeah,
Derek trucks.
it's really tough, isn't it?
Yeah, but so Black Box would be
Yeah.
great.
I might even mix it up a bit and buy a mini tube screamer
Mm.
and BD2, which you could get for
Or
140. I think.
Nobles.
Nobles, yeah, good shout.
We played the Shanks
There's an-
ODS one.
There was a noise up on the overdrive pedal shelf there. I think there's an overdrive pedal going. You've forgotten me, and I don't know what it is.
Okay,
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. There's just so many. Aren't there?
so many.
And it really depends what you
The
like.
Tube Dreamer, the Jam Tube Dreamer,
I think that's pretty expensive.
is really okay. Forget I said anything.
Andy LaSalle or LaSalle, you guys are bloody amazing.
Bloody amazing.
Thanks, Andy. Kevin TK, Morgan's NKT 275 goof though. What was that about? Yeah, it's where Joe said he had a bunch of NKT 275s and they turned out, I think Analog Man pointed out that they probably weren't, but they were exactly the same spec and all the rest of it. I think he
Okay.
genuinely didn't know about that.
Sure.
Anyway, please don't go into that in the comments because we don't know the whole story, so there's no point talking about it. Mabecca, Strat question. Have you ever tried any of the early 80s Strat copies? Tokai Springy Sound, Greco, Bernie. I just bought an Edwards ESP, one of the best Strats I've played.
Played plenty of Tokais in my time.
Yeah, is a really interesting point in history, that, because a lot of people might not know that Fender was basically bankrupt in the early 80s.
Really?
Yeah, it was following the CBS period, and that's when Bill Schultz went in and basically bought the company out or put together a deal to buy the company out. They didn't even have an American manufacturing facility at that point.
Wow.
And so one of the reasons that Squier was launched was to get some guitars into the market and do it at a price point that made sense.
Okay.
And so all the blueprints and everything and all of it went to whoever it was that ended up building Squier, which I think was
John.
Fuji
Dave.
Fuji Gen
Ah,
eventually.
right. Fujigen.
I think
Okay.
maybe January. I met the guy that headed up the project once, a guy called Nick Sugimoto, which was a really fascinating conversation. Nick's done pretty much all of the big brand name guitars that end up being made in the Far East.
Okay.
Anyway, blah, blah, blah. So then what happens, of course, is you're into that massive copy period from the late 70s and early 80s where every significant Gibson and Fender was copied to within an inch of its life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, of course, you copy a guitar, there's going to be some good ones out there.
Yeah.
The thing annoys me about Japanese guitars of that period are pretty much none of them are nitrocellulose.
Sure.
Thick
Thick poly.
and the measurements are all millimeters, not imperial, so nothing
Okay.
fits. So American bits don't fit.
I had an Orville by Gibson,
Yeah.
and it was a double colorway, like a junior. And man alive, that's one of the guitars I regret selling because it was so vibey. It was, it wasn't an expensive guitar. It was like 300 quid or something. It was unbelievable. And then was it 500 quid or something? And I sold that to get the proper old Junior, and I mean that guitar's incredible, but there's something about that old, like the yellow,
Yeah.
you know, that sort of. It's just, man, it was an amazing guitar.
Well, you know, it's two bits of wood, isn't it?
Yeah.
If they work together. Oh, sorry, wood doesn't make any difference to the tone. Andrew Stevens. Hi, Andrew. Thank you. Have you guys thought about doing your own line of pedals, amps, or guitars?
Oh boy, you know. So
It would be a
This-
conflict of interest for us at this point.
yeah, there is so much amazing stuff out there, and so many amazing builders who have amazing stories, and we love them dearly. And it's an honor just to be able to say, hey, check this stuff out. It's incredible. Now for us to go, well, I think we can bring something into the market that's going to be,
It would be tough.
it would be tough. It would be
I would.
really, really tough.
I would. You know, I'd love to have a line of pedals one day.
Yeah, yeah,
But the difference between, you know, I would also like to have a Ferrari
yeah.
and a fire engine. So we can add levels of likelihood to all of those things. Robert Newby, guitars, no way. I mean, I just never wouldn't. Fender and Gibson made all the guitars that ever needed to be made, and Gretsch, and maybe a handful of others. No one needs to make any more guitars, he said, controversially, setting the internet on fire. A few quid for Mick, as his review of the American Vintage 59 Strat was instrumental in my recent purchase of a Sonic Blue thin skin. Outstanding instrument. Cheers, fellas. Says
Ah,
Robert Newby. Thanks, Robert. It's funny. There didn't used to be that many Sonic Blue Strats around.
there didn't used to be.
I'm sounding like Danish Pete. No one had a purple guitar before me. No one.
Just so Robert Newby. Robert
Yeah.
Newby has just so you guys know what's going on there. There's the top chat down the bottom. There's a little $sign, and Robert has given us some cash to go towards the production and the, you know, how we make the show. So that's where that money goes to. So thank you very much, Robert. Really appreciate it.
Daniel Dumas, amp question. Hey guys, I know how much you love your Super, but not sure if you've talked much about the Deluxe Reverb reissue. How does it compare to the Hot Rod Deluxe? That's such a great question. The fact that we don't have a 65 Deluxe Reverb reissue is insane.
Yep.
Dan.
And Princeton.
It's crazy
Yeah,
because they're so different.
Yep.
The 65 Deluxe Reverb and the Hot Rod Deluxe are so different. Let's do that show.
Okay.
They've brought out a hand-wired Princeton
Oh,
at NAMM.
stop it.
All those people that were saying about what's your most exciting thing at NAMM, that's the most exciting thing I've seen so far.
Wow.
An actual, like a hand-wired Princeton. I'm like, yeah, okay.
That wet
Okay.
dry with the matchless. Oh. I'm emotionally aroused.
Nate Kiersey, please bring your Zilla with the WGS12L and maybe talk about Frank Zappa sometime. The Zilla with the WGS12L is a really great cab, 112, which I used with my 2-Rock before I got the 2-Rock 112, which is essentially the same thing. Dumble style, custom build. It's astonishing how big a 112 can sound if you build it right.
Yes.
Please talk about Frank Zappa.
I used to play in Tin Spirits. I used to play a Frank Zappa tune.
Which one?
It's Orange County Lumber Truck.
I don't know that.
Man.
Somebody asked further up, and I apologise that I don't have your name to hand. What do we think of Thorpe's new Love Tone reissues?
Oh, hang on. Yes. So, okay, we can talk about this
We
now.
can talk about it now.
We were when Thorpe did the camouflage, and we went down there and did the thing with Thorpe. He showed us, boy oh boy, what's the big cheese one?
Yeah,
Blew
it was
my mind.
crazy good. It was
And-
somewhat considerably better than another big cheese pedal that we'd played just recently.
And liked.
And we played them side by side.
It was, and because we had an original big cheese there, and we could be this. And in actual fact, if I had to choose between an original big cheese and Thorpe's big cheese, I'd get the Thorpe's big cheese But practicality notwithstanding, just honestly, what a phenomenal sounding thing.
Yeah. So we will have those on the show
Yeah.
as soon as they're available.
Yeah.
Beep, 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 beep. Oh, yes. Come on, Mick. Do better. Is me talking to myself because I saw a brilliant question and now it's gone away. No, 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 no. Oh, yeah. It was from Jack Keelan. Hi, Jack. What cab is underneath the plexi behind you?
Ah,
It's a 212 we had made by Zilla, originally for Dan's Matchless, and we put Celesti and Alnico rubies in it, which sounded really pants with the Matchless because they roll off so much high end, which we weren't expecting from a ruby speaker. However, an Alnico speaker. However, they work fantastically with
in
the
the
plexi.
Oh my goodness, what a
because it's
sound!
got all that horrible aggressive top end.
Yeah.
Which we need to mod out with the bright cap, but actually kind of at the current point in time don't need to mod it because the speakers are taking off a nice amount of high end.
It
And
sounds
just
magic.
sounds like a blues breaker.
Yeah, it really does.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
so
love it.
yeah, we're liking that. So that's what that is, Jack. It's Celestian Alnico Ruby speakers in a custom 212 open back Zilla. Levi Stein, have you checked out the Chris Stapleton Fender Princeton? It's a 62 brown face. I haven't. That came out last year.
Did we
didn't it?
saw it NAMM last year?
Yeah, haven't heard that. Hi, Dan and Mick, says Skeptic.
Hello, Skeptic.
You've done a video on attenuators. What do you think of power scaling?
So power scaling where you're changing the voltage to the power tubes.
In the amp itself, yeah.
Yeah.
Works great in the Shure Badger 35
Yeah,
from what I can
I've
remember.
got it in my Lazy J20 and it works really well. It works really well for like the first half, and then when you then after that it's a little bit distorted. I remember who made a really awesome one. 65 amps had the Producer Pro or something that had awesome power scaling in it. Yeah, so no, done right, it's great. Yeah, it's not. Is it the same as an attenuator?
I've said this before, and it's probably annoy a load of people, but I just think if you've got a 100-watt amp and it's got a transformer in there that is built to do that job, and then you say, well, you can't have all of that, you can only have some of it. It's going, what am I here for? I'm so bored, I'm not even going to, I just can't be bothered with this. I'm just going to give you a bit of that. So I think if you want a crash, a breaking amp sound, get a little amp.
Sure.
Although, having said that, the Shure Badger, I believe that's power scaling,
Right.
which I played, sounded really brilliant.
Yeah.
35,
Yeah. It can
so
do. Done properly, it can sound great.
going around in circles. Tim Holder, hi guys. I've never been much of a modulation guy. Where's a good place to start? I have a Fano MG6 into a matchless C30 reverb. Wow.
Oh man, you're doing fine. That's a good place as any.
Yeah, where would you start? I'd start with harmonic tremolo, even though it's not. It kind of sort of is modulation.
Yeah. Sorry, you lost me at matchless. I had the C30 reverb because.
He doesn't use modulation. Where should he start with modulation?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Look, I love flanges. Depending on how you play, chorus has made a massive comeback. It's Julia by. Come on.
Walrus Audio.
Walrus
Dan?
Audio. Amazing sounding chorus. Yes, that's a good place.
Chorus is great. Rotary speaker is good. Actually,
Rotary
there's a
speaker.
new Neo Instruments micro vent out or about to be out.
Yes.
which is really cool.
Yep.
Because
Very cool.
the obvious ones are chorus, phaser, flanger, right? So a bit of phaser is awesome.
Yep.
For Gilmore type stuff. But
Yep.
I think be adventurous. Go for rotary speaker or harmonic trem.
Yeah, nice. I like it.
Especially with the matchless. Harmonic
Yeah.
trem's going to be like, oh yeah, baby.
I had the very first ever C30 reverb ever made.
Nice.
Yeah. It was because I kept bugging Phil for years because I was playing in the band. Dave had his matchless. And I'm like, I love that, but I want reverb in it. And Took me a couple of years, and Phil finally said, "Okay." So I had the first one ever.
But you prefer the one without reverb.
The one with that reverb.
Adam Stewart, thank you. Adam says this might be an expensive gear bell, like the name drop port. Would help cut down on the whining, just to fan the flames a bit. Do you think you have more than 250k in gear behind you? No.
No.
Nowhere near.
No.
No, nowhere near. Nowhere near.
No. In front, maybe, but behind us,
Nowhere near.
no.
Nowhere near.
not a penny over 180, 190.
Jeremy Manson. Hi, Jeremy. What a good harmonic tremolos. The Walrus Monument is good.
Walrus Monument's good.
My favourite current one is the Supro,
Supro's great.
which is very nice.
Yep.
The one in the Strymon Flint's not bad.
Yep.
Some of them can. The thing with the Supro one is it almost sounds univibey, because actually the modulation is overdone compared to what the amps were. The amps were more subtle,
Sure.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if Magnatone make one. They blooming well should.
It's not. What's the Magnatone is a. What's the one that we heard at ATB?
Yeah.
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 So someone's bought Magnatone, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Because that's a. Yeah. That in the app. It sounded absolutely glorious.
Matt Miller.
Melatonin.
Do you guys think you'll get a Morgan for the room?
We have one.
We've got one over there.
Yeah, we've used it a couple of times.
Dual 20. We just
Yeah.
need to get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christopher Fisher. Hi, Mick. This is a bit personal.
Oh.
No worries. But does music, especially playing music, have positive influence towards your mental health? I'm struggling a bit myself, and music is a great medicine. I'll try and keep this brief, Christopher, because I could talk for a whole day about this. Yes, it does. Absolutely, it does. My wife bought me a Donny Hathaway vinyl this week, and I put it on, and I was smiling
That's lovely.
like an idiot for a while.
Wow.
Where it doesn't help is where you start comparing yourself to everyone, and you start beating yourself up because you don't feel like you are where you should be as a musician. That is destructive. That is borderline mental illness. So if you're, and I think it's also, for what it's worth, I think it's an essential part of the creative process for a lot of people, where they get into this sort of it's almost like a self-driver that is an important part of the creative process, but that doesn't work for me. So yes, music definitely helps. It's the only thing I've ever known in my life. You know, every major, same as Dan, every major decision I've ever made in my life has been because of the guitar.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's kind of, it's so intrinsic to who we are as humans that it's both medicine and poison, right? Because everything in life is always two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
There's always an A and a B. There's always yin and yang. So yes, it's medicine, but by God, is it poison as well?
So I went through a thing 7 years ago, and I had never done sport before, and the biggest thing for me was when I started training. And so having balance, like getting a balance between my training and my friends and family and music, and the core things that I love and cherish in my life, and having a balance between them has just been the best thing ever. But if any one of those things goes, so I had knee surgery recently and haven't been able to train for a couple of months. And it's
affected you,
it's
isn't
really
it?
affected me. So I
Yeah,
haven't
it's
been able
tough.
to sleep properly.
Yeah.
I did my first day training back today, and I was terrible.
Yeah.
And I come off the mats just soaked in sweat, and I just felt a million pesos. I felt great, actually. I really did, because it's just like, okay, you got the adrenaline back, and it's like, yeah, and getting that side of things balanced out. The result for me is so quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
important, an important one.
Quick thanks to Billy Wagner.
Oh, thank you, Billy.
Who's put something into the top chat there. Dawn Erickson. Hey, what about Matamp? Only good for doom and old rock? No. I met Jeff from Matamp a few times up there in, I want to say Yorkshire, and if I've got that wrong, I sincerely apologise. But in the north of England, if you don't know the history of Matamp and Orange, Google it and read. It's a fascinating bit of history, how that all unfolded. I've got a little Matamp somewhere, a little
Yes.
C7.
Yeah.
It broke, so I stopped, and it broke. It was my fault that it broke.
I think it's still in Swindon.
Is it?
I think so.
Okay, nice.
I'll look at that.
Sego guitarist. In both your opinions, is the Katana the best bang for the buck amp released in recent years?
The Katana.
Katana, I'm saving up for the 100.
I
think it's great.
It's fantastic. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, and they're so cheap. They're laughably inexpensive. I
Yeah.
don't want to say cheap. Quite how they do that for the money, I don't know.
Yamaha released the THR10
Yeah,
and the THR brand. For the little rehearsal amp at home, it's really hard to beat that. It's
yeah.
such an amazing sounding thing, and it's a stereo amp as well. So the reverbs and stuff sound big and lush. But I couldn't go and gig with it.
You couldn't gig with the THR, but you definitely could gig. Well, you could if it was mic'd.
Sure.
But in terms of sticking it there next to a kick drum,
Yeah.
it wouldn't work. But the Katana 100, you definitely can.
Yeah.
It's loud enough.
Yep.
I would offer an opinion which I think is probably no longer valid. But when back in the old days, when this was all fields, the first amp you got was usually rubbish,
Right.
hard to play, and a bit like the thing that Dan was saying earlier about this guitar, not that guitar, the Telecaster, being a challenge and therefore requiring more of him as a musician to get something out of it.
It's not a it's just not it's not a challenge to play, but because it's so detailed, you hear everything.
Yeah, so
So
you've gotta
I've
be
got to
on
be
it.
like, you got to be on it.
And I think that's the case with amps too. So
Yeah.
if you get a really friendly, nice sounding amp that's really easy to play on the one hand of this yin and yang coin that we're talking about, given that everything has its equal and exact opposite. On the one hand, you've got, wow, I really want to play this because I sound good and it makes life easy and it's brilliant. On the other hand, it might not be making you a better player.
Sure,
And-
that's a really good point.
But I don't even know if that's relevant anymore because people can't play 50 watt plexis and 100 watt plexis anymore. You can't.
Look,
They're not allowed on most stages anymore.
I think that situation has it's not what it was, but I still think there are gigs where you can do that. If you put it this way, if we were to go and do a gig like when we went and did our stuff at the Cheese and Grain, and we just sat on the stage and turned our amps up, and it was great. There are gigs that you can do, but I think if you've got a band and you want to do that sort of stuff, you've got to go and find the venues that are appropriate to do that.
I think it's going to come back.
I believe so.
I genuinely do because that whole. Oh no, let's not even get into it. I think it's going to come back. I think you'll see more bands using louder guitar amps and sounding like a band
Yeah,
rather than a mix.
like it.
I think it's going to happen again.
Okay.
And then anyway, Andrew Morgan. Hello, Andrew.
Hey, mate.
How are you? I loved seeing the High Watt again
Oh,
in
man.
the Universal Audio.
Yes, tour. We haven't even touched on that one.
Dan seemed to enjoy it too much. Did he need a Bex and a lie down afterwards?
Tell you what.
By the way, I started playing and recording 5 years back solely to tackle anxiety and depression. Good for you, mate. Well done.
Well done, mate.
done.
That's awesome.
Hope it's going good.
What a great, yeah, so good.
Yeah.
So the High Watt. For anyone that hadn't seen the show, we had Tor over, who's now working at Universal Audio, previously working for TC Electronic, and they had some updates in the aux with its V30 equipped.
New cabs, yes.
cabs.
The whole firmware update, wasn't it?
Yep. So we put the High Watt through that, and we attenuated with the aux, but then at the end, we put the mics in front of the cabinet and just started de-attenuating it up to the point where, what did we hit? 111 dB, I
something
think.
like that.
And
Well, it's not as loud as my two-roll.
but that was still going to the aux though, which does attenuate it. But
it had
anyway,
3 dB off for that, didn't it?
it just You know what? It's that same thing, like being at Lee's and hearing those loud amplifiers, and it does something to you physically. It puts energy in,
Yeah.
and it's like it feeds you, and it's like, oh, what a mega sound!
It is. The energy thing is interesting. I was looking at the fire last night going, what is fire? What is fire? I mean, and then I looked it up on Wikipedia. It's like, this is too scientific for me. It's an energy transfer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Robert Horton. Hello, Robert.
Hey, Robert.
Hey, guys. How are you? We're good. Thank you very much. What do you think about the Hiwatt T20 amp, and what cabinet would be good for it so you can sound like Gilmour? I don't know much about the Hiwatt T20.
No.
I do know that Hiwatt has just been reacquired. The brand has come under a single... The ownership of Hiwatt has been all over the place for a little
I
while.
thought you were going to say, I do know that Hiwatt now make boots. Check these out.
Yeah, these lovely boots. So I think we'll be seeing a bit more Hiwatt on the show,
Yeah.
because the guy's got it. It's now in Britain, and I think they're making nice stuff again.
Lovely.
Not that they haven't always made nice stuff, but it's now... Oh, I'll just stop there. Hiwatt is going to have a renewed vigour. So if we can find out anything about the T20, we surely shall. Doug J, I love the show. Thank you, Doug. We
Thank
love
you, Doug.
Thank you very
That's
much
very
for that.
kind. Thank you.
Nate Kiersey, have you guys ever listened to Big Business? Incredible two-piece band, always on tour, and I know they'd love to stop by. I haven't.
No, don't know them.
Big Business. We'd have to look them up.
Mr. Big Train.
David Bakesi. David Bakeski. Apologies, David. Since I like David Be Sexy. I like that better. Since I've discovered your show, I've spent a few $1,000s on pedals. What's up with that? Yep. So have I. This will be hard to believe. I have spent more money on gear since we've been doing this than I did in the 20 years previous to that.
Really?
Yeah. Well, maybe in the 10 years previous to that. Has Dan worked on the Worm yet, says Matt Miller?
I haven't. No. That we'll have to do that for another show.
I think we should take it up to 30.
I've been working on my Dominant 7 inversions.
That's good.
Like that one?
I think we should take it to Thorpe
Okay.
and go, come on then. How good are you really? Gary Mitchell, where are you guys playing? Mine and Dan's gig book is the saddest of all tomes. It's bereft of information.
It's very sad. Hang on.
Yeah. We both said we want to play more this year, so we'll see if that happens.
Yeah. I might be doing a little jazz thing with Doug, like a little Sunday pub somewhere in Swindon. Get a keyboard player and bass player and just play real book standards.
I have dreamt about that, like when I'm less young.
Like a nightmare dream, or
No.
you-
Like that would be such a cool thing to do.
oh,
wouldn't it?
okay, right. I thought I've dreamt about that. I've dreamt about you playing standards at a pub, and I wake up in a cold sweat. Catherine!
Jack Duxbury. Hello, Jack. How are you, mate? He
Oh,
says,
buddy.
just sending a digital man hug, and right back at you, Jack. Just got back from Namadam, and it's such a treat to get back in the door to find TPS on the tube. Bless
Oh,
you, mate. I can tell you, Dan, that Jack has offered me some piano playing advice.
Has he?
He has.
And that advice is?
I will reveal it all in good time.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah. John Sver Gunderson. Why does my metal zone sound thin and bad when I run it into the front of the amp, a Bedrock 1600, but when it's in the effects loop, it's fuller, fatter, and beefier?
Depends how you're running the front end of the amplifier.
Yeah, maybe something to do with the fact that the front end of the amp is likely to be... Depends what the amp is. If it's an active EQ, it's slightly different, but a lot of amps have a reductive EQ, right? So the signal is like here, and then you add in all the pots and it brings it all down.
Yeah, when you turn the pot down, it takes the
Yeah.
maximum potential and brings it down. But if
So
you get
when
rid of all
you
that,
when you hit the effects loop return, you're bypassing all of that. But that doesn't often make sense because then there's no preamp to bring it up to the level that the effects loop return needs to see.
Yeah, but
so,
if you're driving the pedal really hard in the app,
yeah. So not sure why that would be. I'm not sure. Ernesto Pirto says, "Hey guys, I've been searching for a nice guitar for under 800 to 900 that will make a nice jazzy sound. Do you have any suggestions?"
If it's purely a jazz guitar, the D'Angelico,
Yeah, they look nice.
yeah,
Check out the Ibanez Art Course series. They are crazy good value for money.
yes. Also, the 335s from, is it Vintage or Vantage guitars?
Vintage, yeah,
Vintage
but for 800
guitars?
900 you get a really serious Epiphone for that.
Oh, okay.
As
There
well.
you go. Yeah.
And no word of a lie, Telecaster, one of the
Neck
best jazz
pickup.
guitars ever.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
But you probably want something with air in it, to be fair.
Yeah.
Right, we should think about it, Dan. It's 1904.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't broken my fast yet today. I was supposed to have break at lunch and I just wasn't hungry.
Really?
Yeah.
So what do you want to eat tonight then?
I don't know, some of that does good veggie stuff.
Good veggie stuff.
Mm.
Okay. Right.
The Italian does good veggie stuff.
It does?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Peter Gray. You guys always make videos using great sounding amps. Would you like to make a video using solid state amps from time to time since their popularity grows and grows? Peter, we've done 2 or 3 videos on solid state amps and we come to the same conclusion, which is they are fantastic value for money and they really work for a lot of people. But once you have this stuff, it's very hard to go back from
Yeah.
that.
That's very
And, Dan and I do this because we love playing and we love being inspired and we love to do that. And sometimes that all comes together and there is inspiration happening on this show.
Mm.
Sometimes less so. And less so is when the sounds aren't connecting as much. So, yeah, it's not to say that stuff isn't great and you can make it work and it sounds brilliant and lots of people really love it. But I think, yeah, we have done a couple of videos. Maybe watch them, see what you think.
Sure. That's good.
Yeah. Right. Rufus 1884. Thank you, Rufus.
Thank you, Rufus.
Hey guys, love the Lee Melia vid. What are your thoughts on the Victory V4 pedal preamp? Well, I know all about that because I was involved in some of the beta testing and the development of it, and I shot the videos with Simon.
I shot the video.
And Fraser helped.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what do I think about it? I think it's really interesting because I'm not a fan of products like that. Class D power section, neodymium speaker. I'm never going to love a neodymium speaker, is the truth. Ever, having mic'd some of them up and listened to them. But an all-valve front end, which is what it is, 4 valves, means that I think of all those products, it takes your pedals better than anything else I've heard.
Right. Nice.
In that world.
Sure.
And the Class D thing, 200 watts is insane.
Right.
It's really crazy powerful.
Wow.
So if you get it into a nice cabinet, it's still giving you 90 watts at 8 ohms.
Oh, wow.
Very usable.
Okay.
Very usable, yeah. It's pretty decent, actually.
What's the preamp? Is it heavy or is it...
No, it's just like a fairly clean...
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They'll probably, I would imagine they will do heavier
series,
ones in
okay.
time, but it's a
Okay,
nice
that's
format.
amazing. Yeah.
In fact, I think it'd be a great one for jazzers.
Yeah,
I think the
right.
jazzers would love it.
Is there any effects on board?
Reverb and tremolo.
No way.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really good. I'd be interested in what you thought about it, actually.
Yeah. I'll bring my my arch top in.
Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah. But from something that I thought that I was scared about hearing,
Right.
is actually really pretty decent.
That's great.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And-
well, Martin doesn't design rubbish, does he?
No.
He's amazing.
And the price point, you can run it without a speaker load.
Can you?
Practicality, it weighs 1.7 kilograms. It's like,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, very interesting.
Yes, that's what I think about it. Right, Dan, we need to go eat vegetarian food,
Sounds good.
maybe have a glass of wine.
Sounds even better.
So let's leave it to My Secret Machine, who says, Dan, how's your EP coming along? Are there still plans for vlogging the process?
So the EP is coming along great. yes, I'm currently filming the process. Had rehearsal with Doug on Wednesday, just ironing out some arrangements. Then we start in earnest. We are tracking the drums at the end, like a month today, I think it is. But yeah, it's. Oh look, I'm having the time of my life
Rufus.
doing this.
Yeah, I can't wait. I want to hear it.
That's great. Yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. But
Nice.
to the point where we're writing more material and probably do another one before the end of the year as well, on top of the one that's already been. The songs are all written for this.
Yeah.
Just finish off the arrangements.
So
but
you've got $1 million. You want $2 million.
that's right.
Yeah. What's wrong with the first million, man? He's always looking forward, Dan. It's great. I'm really looking forward to
Oh.
hearing it.
Well, don't get too excited.
Right.
Manage your expectations.
Tom Miley. Hello, Tom. Did we see Ranger's minibar pedal? It analyzes the liquid.
Ah, man, that's crazy, crazy. I emailed David Ranger and I said, I want to meet you because he's the most amazing, creative guy. And I'm like, I just want to meet you and buy you a beer. And he came, it's like so nice. And so, yeah, but have you seen that thing?
No.
Right, so
Let's get it. Let's go down the pub. Tell me about this down the pub, Dan.
Okay, but just quickly, it's got a little bowl on it.
Okay.
And you pour liquids in it, and it sounds different depending on the viscosity of the liquid that you pour into the bowl.
No way.
It's just amazing. Yeah, but awesome. Yes.
Can we get some liquid osmium from somewhere?
Yeah.
I don't know if osmium is probably a solid. Is it at room temperature? It's the heaviest element.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't
Like,
know what its atomic number is, like 273 maybe or something like that.
okay,
I
like
don't know.
heavy.
Yeah. There must be a metal band.
Osmium.
There must be a metal band called osmium. Right. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Thank you for everyone that top chatted and everyone that commented. Thank you guys so much. Massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is
Anderton's Music of Guildford in Surrey.
and in Australia.
Would be Pedal Empire of Brisbane, Queensland.
And there are links and things below all the videos that if you feel like purchasing something from that you see in the videos, there
Click
are
on
links
them.
there. Click on them because that money that comes for that helps generate money for the show.
We've got one brick for the Clon-shaped gold mansion.
Yeah, but I had it tested. It's not real. Anyway,
Tell him to stop work, Dan.
yes. So, yeah, massive thank you to everyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com. Yes. So, yeah, thank you guys. Have a great week and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.